Start by placing the picture of the woman in the dress on a flat surface, like a table or desk. Lay the tracing paper over the picture, making sure to cover the area where the dress is visible. Using a pencil, lightly trace the outline of the woman's dress. Ignore the rest of her body or background and focus only on the dress. Carefully follow the curves and lines of the dress, including any folds, patterns, or other details that define its shape and design. When the dress is fully traced, gently remove the masking tape and take the tracing paper off the picture. Flip the tracing paper over so that the pencil lines of the dress are now facing down. Place the Bondaweb over the image with the smooth side facing upwards. The smooth side is the side you draw on. The rough side should be touching the paper. Trace around the outline of the image. Bondaweb is a double-sided fusible webbing material. It is also known as transfer adhesive. It is used to bond fabrics together and is ideal for appliqué projects, as it can be used to make a cutout shape into an iron-on motif. Bondaweb comes on a paper backing. Cut out only the amount of Bondaweb as you will need. It is an extremely expensive material and should not be wasted. Place one sheet of baking parchment on your iron board first. Place your fabric down next. Flip your cloth over so the wrong side is facing up. Place your image on the back of the fabric to be used for the motif, with the rough side touching the fabric. Put another sheet of baking parchment on top. Iron the paper for as long as the instructions tell you to. I iron my image for 10 seconds. Turn the steam setting off on your iron for the surfaces to bond. Make sure it has completely adhered before using a pair of fabric scissors to cut carefully along the drawn lines of the dress. Peel off the backing paper on your figure motif. Gently place the tracing paper over the picture. Align the paper so it fully covers the section of the picture you want to trace. Now, using a pencil, lightly trace the outline of the person in the picture. Go slowly and follow the contours of the image, making sure to capture key details such as the shape of the head, body, arms, and legs. Flip the tracing paper over so that the side with the pencil lines is now facing down. Flip the tracing paper over so that the side with the pencil lines is now facing down. An embroidery hoop consists of 2 wooden rings, one fitting tightly inside the other. It holds the cloth taut, creating a drum-like effect. Place the larger hoop on a flat surface and lay the fabric over it. Place your tracing paper on top next. Put the other hoop on top and press them together. Push the rings down and pull the fabric from the outside to make the fabric tighter in the hoop. Keep going until you get it as tight as a tambourine. Go over the pencil lines to transfer them to the fabric. Using the parchment paper, like before, iron the figure motif onto the front of the fabric. Attach your image to your table using masking tape. find some tissue paper and place it over your image. Check if your image is small enough to fit into your embroidery hoop. If you are planning to use the sewing machine to stitch your drawing, you need to make sure you have left enough room for the darning foot and needle to reach all areas of the fabric. To use tissue paper for an image transfer, first trace the image onto the tissue paper using an ordinary pencil. I did a continuous line drawing to mimic Rosie James's style of stitch drawing. After doing my drawing, I placed it on top of my fabric to see if any adjustments needed to be made. Layer the tissue paper over the cloth you are going to stitch on and insert both the cloth and the tissue paper into the hoop. After the thread has passed through the eye of the needle, pull it until you have an equal length of thread on both sides of the needle, or leave one side longer depending on how you plan to sew. If your sewing project requires it, you can tie a small knot at the end of the thread to prevent it from slipping through the fabric when you begin sewing. Now stitch along the lines through both the tissue paper and the fabric. Begin by pushing your needle through the fabric and tissue paper from the back, pulling it all the way through until the knot rests against the back of the fabric. Take the dressmaking needles and poke small holes through the tissue paper and fabric where you plan to stitch. This will serve as a guide for where your needle should go through, making stitching more precise and smoother. Once finished, remove the tissue paper or leave bits of it in place if you like the effect. This is what Rosie James does. To fill in the gaps between the stitches, I used a black fine liner pen.